Jacobs Foundation Levante Framework Project, and we are here today, I'm supposed to present the proposed projects in a form that can facilitate the documentation of our proposal. We only have, I would say, 6 days, so I suppose we have to start documenting the proposal in a concrete way. So maybe what I can do is just introduce the ideas. That might be a good starting point as far as we've come in terms of developing the idea. And I'll introduce the concepts that were discussed by the committee, the subcommittee, and maybe invite members to expound on their ideas. So let me share my screen. Yeah, I may need. I'm sharing. Okay, so I'll open up the different proposals. So how do I hide this? Okay. I'm not sure how to hide this one. Okay, I've hidden it. Okay, so what I'm doing now is sharing the proposals as they were discussed. Based on the last meeting, we had suggested that we form a subcommittee to examine key proposals.
I'm not hearing. Is it only me who is not hearing?
But Martin has muted, eh?
Oh, I see.
Can you unmute Martin?
Okay, sorry about it. I've unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, and present the ones that are written in red.
Okay, I will.
Yes.
I'll even invite you to present, but I will at least start the overview, and then I suppose we can go through it step by step. So I'll start with the first one, then we do the second one, and then the third one. All right. What happened last week was we discussed and presented the general ideas. 3 ideas were mooted, and the ideas were found to be generally acceptable. But we had suggested that we form a subcommittee which will analyze these ideas further so that we can, you can say, flesh them out and go deeper. Of course, the goal was to not only give them more substance, but align them to the Levante framework. So this was the subcommittee's work. So I suppose today's meeting, to advance on that, would be to present the results of the subcommittee's work in terms of fleshing out the ideas, and then, of course, to now start the process of writing the proposal, which at least should be guided by a framework that the subcommittee has come up with to guide the writing of the proposal. The proposal is only one, but of course, we need to break it down into its different constituent parts in a way that we can say makes logical sense and hopefully can win us the grant. So today's objective is now to leave the meeting in a way where we have kick-started the writing of the proposal, possibly even given ourselves roles in terms of what everybody is doing with regard to writing the proposal. So this is roughly how we're thinking. Now, there were 3 subtitles, or let's say 3 areas of study, and we're looking at them. This is how the subcommittee structured it as 3 thematic areas. The first area, in fact, the first two areas were considered to be primary in the area of child development and learning. They were addressing child development and learning directly. The third area was looking at the technological tools and processes that relate to child development and learning. That's how we've problematized it. So the first two areas have these subtitles. I'm just highlighting them for those who are not very much aware. The first subtitle is this one, but I think Prof asked me to read only the red areas. So let me read this red area. Mapping development and learning variability of children 5 to 8 years in Kenya. So let's say that's the subtitle of the first thematic area. And my understanding, although I can be corrected by this, is that this mapping development and learning variability of children age 5 to 8 years is looking at the individual child development in learning. So it's more individualized. We have the second area, which I'm again just going through for summary purposes. This one, again, I'll highlight the red area. This one. This is the thematic area for the second area. It's looking at local perspectives and determinants of child development and learning in Kenya. This one is more, I'll use my own language, it may be corrected, but it's more external in the sense that it doesn't look at the individual child, but it looks at child development and learning from a family, social, community, and national perspective. So it's the same thing, but you can really say the perspective is different. So these are two thematic areas, and they are central to child development and learning. The third area that we conceived in the framework is this one. I'll read out the title. Integrating emerging technologies to enhance child development and learning outcomes, a longitudinal interventionist approach. So this one looks at the tools and processes that cut across the first areas. Individual child and learning, child development and learning, and you could say more social, but you could say family, community, national, child development and learning. So what is going on in the first two is investigated using subtitle number 3. And the focus on subtitle number 3 is more on the technologies and tools for learning or for child development and learning. And you can see here there's a subtitle of a longitudinal interventionist approach. So this is a general big picture of the framework, we could say, that we're using to prepare our proposal. The idea is to align what we're doing with the Levante project. The overall name, this is the global name at the top here, is this one. And the name was carefully crafted to align itself with the factors that the Levante framework wants us to use for learning, or to at least work with. So one word which stood out was variability. So this title of our proposal, it has been mooted, it's really still at the level of discussion, is Child Development and Learning, Variability in Kenya. This is the overarching theme. Child development and learning learning variability in Kenya. And it aligns with the Levante framework's positioning to examine variability or at least to research variability and context across different learning situations. The subtitle here is Multidisciplinary Insights on Social, Cultural, Economic, and Technological Interventions. So these were seen as something that are cross-cutting: social, cultural, economic, and technological intervention. If I may just say one or two things about just this part to make it clear, is that in as much as we're looking at child development and learning variability, in as much as we're doing that within Kenya, we are arguing that there are three, but of course not limited, but these three are considered most important areas that would form sub-themes in our study. One being social-cultural, to incorporate the family, community, and you can say national impact on the child development and learning. We have the economic, which we saw as important because of resources and the distribution of those resources and how they affect child development and learning. And then the technological interventions, which allow us to look at, you can say, traditional, current, which are conventional, and you can say futuristic technologies in the child development and learning uh, context. So these are the three. Again, it's not limiting, but we just isolated them as being things that we need to look at. So that now forms our main heading. So I've just introduced these three areas and what we did, which was to create what we are calling a framework for each one of the three thematic areas. You can see the framework in this box. We'll go through it quickly, but this box is trying to give us a guideline on how to write our proposal. And it's the same for thematic area number 2, which is looking at the social context. Again, we have these boxes which are helping to guide us, and also for thematic area number 3. So let me go back just to quickly go over this, and then I'll invite my colleagues to be more detailed on what we're doing. So what we're saying is that each thematic area needs to have an overarching objective or aim, just something we can discuss and agree on. But just to standardize, and it's not, again, a limiting factor, but we're just trying to be standardized, we argued that let's each one of these, you see, we're talking of child development and learning, but let's break them into thematic areas. For example, when you're looking at the individual child. So the first area that we looked at thematically was the area of child development and learning assessment. And the second area that we thought we need to look at is this one, skills on assessment of development and learning variability in children. This first one of child development and learning assessment, I believe is necessary when you're doing this kind of research. It's a necessary theme that we can't avoid. But the second one here I can see is actually aligned to the LEVANTE objectives. They're interested in us studying the variability in children and in different contexts. So this second title is maybe necessary for the purpose of alignment. The objective has been written up over here of this theme is this one, to adapt a multidisciplinary approach in assessment of holistic development and learning variability in children between the ages 5 and 8 years. The objective of the second one, which is looking at the skills on assessment of development and learning variability, is to conduct a multicultural advocacy with policymakers and key stakeholders on child development and learning. Again, this is very much aligned to the objectives of the LEVANTE call, this issue about advocacy with policymakers. So I suppose that's where that has come from. And under each one of these objectives, we have highlighted here 3 different components, which are sub-themes. Each one informs a research question. We have 1 research or 3 research questions for every thematic area. Yeah. And each thematic area has a sub-theme. So under the sub-theme for cognitive development and learning progression, we have this question. What are the cognitive skills of children ages 5 to 8? Under this sub-theme of social and emotional, we have the research question, what are the socioeconomic skills required by children ages 5 to 8 years? And then under the sub-theme of physical development, what is the status of the physical well-being and the skills required by children from age 5 to 8 years? All right. Now, the same should apply here. We have yet to develop these sub-themes. This section is about alignment, really, to the LEVANTE goal. So I suppose these sub-questions or these research questions would be aligned. Under each one of these, for example, if I take the first one, what are the cognitive skills and skills of children ages 5 to 8? Under that question, we were proposing a series of activities, research activities, based in 2 different categories. Again, 2 was arbitrary, we just put it there to give it structure. In this example, we're saying under this research question, 1 category would ask or would have activities around the developmental stages of cognitive skills, this one. And the second set of activities would be, it says stage-based learning and assessment. And now we can decide on those activities when writing. So this is a framework, and it gives us a strong guide which helps to harmonize our ideas. The same applies for this one. The only difference with this and the previous one, really, let me not say the only one, but the major one, is that this one is looking at child's development a bit more externally, because it's more concerned with the social impact on and the influences on the child development and learning. I won't go through it in great detail, but you can see, I can also see my colleagues have started writing based on this framework, their proposal over here, which is good because it gives us a way forward. But it's all guided by what we are writing over here. There are 6 research questions, and these 6 research questions come out of 2 thematic areas, which have an objective each. And below that, each research question should have 2 categories which inform the research activities. And now this proposal fits into all that, and that's what we're writing down here. So this helps it helps merging and compartmentalizing what we're doing much more easily. So what we had said earlier, before I came in the third area, is that this is a multi-stage mixed method research design matrix. So the research design itself is multi-stage and mixed method. When we say multi-stage, we're looking at an ethnographic, and again, it may not be limited to what I'm saying, but it could be that the first stage is more ethnographic based, and it's more about exploration and discovery based on the research questions that are raised. And these 2, subtitle 1 and subtitle 2, will be heavily involved in that. They follow more the educational pedagogy. Stage 2 will be more interventionist, and that also is what our title is speaking to, the technological interventions, but it also has social, cultural, economic, and technological interventions. So the second phase will be more experimental, and you can say about systematic inquiry and hypothesis based. But once we have gone through stage 1, stage 1 will be really help us to form our hypotheses for stage 2, which will be more experimental. And in that way, the technological, and you could say at least the technology and processes, the tools and the processes, would be instruments for collecting data, and also instruments that help us to know what it is we're measuring using the Levante framework or the Levante tool. So this is the approach that we are taking. Again, the structure of this is the same. It has 2 thematic areas of, you can say, research, and again, 6 research questions that are being answered based on technology and tools. And then, of course, research activities in categories that we will define. We have defined them here, but it's open to discussion. Yeah, so there is some wording on this one as well, which is very helpful. Yes. So this is now where we have reached, and I'll invite my colleague to now add what I've said. I've just summarized what the subcommittee has gone through, and we're open to discussion. We wanted to make this presentation and to suggest that within this framework, we can go ahead and now write the proposal. I suppose even what's in red here can be discussed and changed, but at least we have now a working plan which will guide us. So let me open it up to all of us. Let's weigh in on it. I can see something on the chat. Yeah, but it's not a question. So, but feel free to ask questions or even to counter suggest what we can do to follow up. Thank you.
That's wonderful, Martin. You can see the actual framework is taking shape.
Yeah.
And definitely it means a lot of work has gone into this. But because the key inputs from Professor Opata, Sylvia, and Rael are also here. Maybe we can allow Dr. Sylvia to say something. Go fast, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Karanja. Sylvia she has not joined, but we collectively did this.
Sorry. I meant Rael. Sorry.
We collectively worked on this as a team, this subcommittee. And I think Martin has really presented well. That is what we discussed, and that is where we are. And what I just want to add that even in stage 1 and stage 2, we were thinking of intervention, because once we have the data, then what is it that we can do with it? So when we are talking about issues surrounding advocacy or module development, that is an interventionist approach that appears on the topic. And I also just want to add that we have suggested to use Uri Brenner ecological system theory. And I think this fits well because we are able to look at the various systems or levels and how that affects child development and learning, starting with the family, which is the microsystem, and all the way to the chronosystem that is quite a temporal dimension of time and the changes that occurs across the lifespan. Then beside that, we are also thinking of Vygotsky, social constructivist theory, which we also feel is very important in this study because it acknowledges the significance of social interaction and also acknowledges the significance of cultural artifacts. And in this case, even technology can be considered as a cultural artifact, and how this can go a long way in child development and learning. And just to know how children learn, because in Vygotsky's theory, it acknowledges the co-construction or co-production of knowledge. Our literature is not still so refined, but the work is around how important child development early years are as foundational stage that determines long-term, lifelong learning in all those domains and the well-being of the children. And you see, just recognizing the global agenda, such as the SDG, and of course the Kenya Vision 2030, and how this aligns to the significance of child development. In SDG, we have the SDG 4.2 that focuses on equal access of all boys and girls to early childhood education. So that is what I can say, but I think most of the things have been said by Martin. Thank you.
Oh, very well, Rael. That's very good. Actually, we can say that the work is already taking shape. The theoretical underpinnings are already coming out clearly. Literature is developing. I think clearly the rationale and context are all coming out very well. And I believe now that we have, I think, Dr. Tarus is already here. I can see Prof. Opata has joined. But because Martin and Rael have already given perspectives, Martin has given the whole idea on how the framework has taken shape. Dr. Rael has given the justifications, the theoretical underpinnings, plus the way the literature and context are developing. I want at this point, before Dr. Tarus and Prof. Opata comes in, I know Prof. Opata has more depth in some areas, but I want, before she comes in, I want Simon to point us to the call, as well as the form, the application form that we are supposed to fill, and tell us so far what you have been able to pick up, and then from that we shall continue with the discussion. Simon.
Yes, Dr. I'm here.
Sure. You can lead us into what you've done.
Sure, I can show the form, the application form. So just a minute. So this is how the form is looking like. Am I able to share this?
We can see.
Yeah, we can see. You can see. I think you're sharing.
Yeah, this is online.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think now where we are there, we have been able to come up with most of the information required.
The Open University have this.
So this is general information. So the form has got these 3 tabs. If you click on apply under LEVANTE, so we have the range of the age, the country, and then here we have now the main questions, and then under the main questions, we need to provide the international relevance of that work, and 3, the potential to promote human development. So as we now build up the framework, I think the questions and the themes need to be connected to the relevance internationally and the potential to promote the human development. And then in the form, we are supposed to type in here. So I think it will be just a matter of copying and pasting here. And then you're supposed to provide a brief summary of the planned research. The summary is there. There's space for that. And then you're being asked, is this study new or an ongoing study with additional data collection? So that is the space here to provide that. And then they're asking if the principal investigator has previous publications relevant to LEVANTE, and they are providing a space to upload the previous publications. And then we have, so he has to provide the description of the published papers there, and then the funding category. So this is already agreed upon that we are going for the large project. And then here, there are some drop downs here. So how we heard about the call, I think the PI can choose on this. Now what members can guide here in this conversation is about selecting the discipline, primary and secondary at the proposed stage. So this drop down has many categories. So what I did, I copied these to the Word document there, but able to see all of them. So let me go to the drop down. So this is the list of the areas or the discipline. Is the same list under primary and secondary. So I was trying to check the ones which are relevant to our call. I was trying to check on early child development, early childhood education, educational psychology, and science of learning. So chair members can maybe deliberate and maybe from this list there, be able to agree what becomes our primary discipline and what becomes our secondary discipline. So, Chair,
Yes.
that is something can be agreed. Yes.
Just go on.
Yeah, that can be agreed on later on.
Yeah, sure.
And then in the call, you're supposed to fill this information, and then you mark as complete, and then go to submitting. So still on the call, there is the part for information. They're asking now for the general information. I think this is for the principal investigator, asking the details, citizenship, current employment, institution, department, position, personal website, lab website, scholar link. And then the other part here is for CVs, CVs and selected publication. So the PI is supposed to attach CVs here, maximum of 2 pages there, and also the publications here. So I think, Chair, at this point, if you have been able to agree on who is the, also familiarize herself with the portal. So, Chair, I submit.
Okay. That's great, Simon. At least you've been able to show us what the forms look like. We can already start conceptualizing how much we have, and surely I think we have what we can say as quite something, because already from going forward with what Martin has said and Rael, there's quite a bit of content for us to use in the form. Definitely, it's very clear that whatever these people require is the concept, and definitely that's what we're going to deliver. Prof. Opata, thank you for coming. I don't know whether you would want to hear what Taruz would say from what he has already seen so far. This was their bit to, as people who have interacted with the call, and now they have seen what we have done so far. Just to give a word before Prof. Opata, you now can consolidate. We don't want to stay so long, as we agreed. Actually, by 8 we should be leaving to attend to other things. But I'm sure you will firm up what the Martin, Rael, and all of us will have said, and also give a clear direction. Taruz, what have you seen so far?
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, colleagues.
Good evening.
Yeah, I was not part of the small group, but mine is only to thank Professor Kamala and Dr. Rael for the elaborate presentations on the good work that was done by the small teams that worked on the frameworks and the thematic areas of the proposals. So, I second the proposed topics together with the objectives and the proposed methodology, which are in line with the Levante call. And I believe that is the right direction that we can take. And as Dr. Simon noted and presented, I think we now only need to align this concept to the Levante application call, which seems to be specific on the different aspects of the application. So thank you, and back to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Taruz, of course, on seeing what has already happened. So, Prof. Opata, now it's your turn. Maybe you can bring in forth where everybody is, and of course now, in a way, point us to a direction that we shall be heading with whatever has already come out. so far. Of course, I know all of us will be reacting to also what you will guide. Prof, Karibu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karanja, and all members who are here. I want to appreciate the small team that have worked on the concept, that is Amala, Rael, Ongware, Sylvia, and myself. We had to spend a lot of time trying to come up with the narrative that you have seen, and a comparison to the required amount of work or word count that is required to get into the call, the application. You will discover that the work that has been presented is so massive, over the 2,000 words in the various sections. And therefore, I wish that the members of this committee, not now necessarily the small committee, we can now get in there. We can have our entry level there. We need now to come up with the specific assignments, because tomorrow is just fast and I don't like the last minute issues. So that we assign ourselves the responsibility. One, we need at least Simon to spearhead and lead the team that will analyze the presented work, the narrative, integrate and analyze to come up with the required specific description of the various sections in the form, because that is what is most important. Comparative to the work that has been presented, you may not just lift the entire work and post it there, but you will need again to consolidate, especially theme 1 and theme 1, 2, and 3. Theme 2 and 1 has already been consolidated. When you look at the work, the two themes have been consolidated. Theme 3 is still standing alone. So we need to integrate theme 3 together with these two themes to form one document, integrated document that should be answering or addressing the issues that are required in the application form. I will just maybe after this need to hear from Simon what is his thinking. I thought him and the two other members can consolidate the work, put it together, and try to fit into the form. Then after they have filled the required section, then the team can be able to come over, a team of Rael, Hamala, and maybe myself and Sylvia, just to go over it and see whether the main content that was discussed in those three thematic areas is integrated and reflected in the work that is now posted in the application form. Number 2, I don't know whether the CVs and the team, the entire team is required to be listed. If there is any area that requires the entire team, Dr. Karanja will be able to coordinate and get the requirements, the specification of the team members, if there is any specific area, so that he gets that information, again passes over to Simon to be able to fill into the form. I'm saying that because we cannot all fill into that form. It needs one person or two people, and then it can be brought to this big committee to be able to look at it again. And number 3, the publication and the other experience. I don't have the experience of similar study at our level, but I have done some research in such an area, empirical research, but the project of similar level, I don't have experience, unless if Martin has.
If I have experience in this area? Yeah, you have gone quiet. I don't hear.
If there is somebody who has had such experience, we can be able to combine that and right there to spell out any of these members who are in this list. If you have had any experience with this kind of project previously, you can be able to bring your details so that we also incorporate there. And then we can analyze the papers that we have worked on. And I want to propose that 6th is just close here, but I would wish that on 4th we submit this. On 4th is on Thursday. So that being the case, then we need by tomorrow to have something to look at. Maybe between now and tomorrow to combine what is missing. And then on a 2nd, we have a document again to revisit, which we can approve and submit. So back to Karanja and Simon, is there a space that they require all the team members to list their experience or the CVs or to describe the team that is on board so that we can be able to see what to inform our members to bring in? Back to you.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, thank you, Prof. Now, of course, yeah, the 3 items are solid. About picking and starting to develop this application. Of course, Simon would, of course, be able to do that. It's an easy thing because already team 1 and 2 are already consolidated. But I was feeling that there is none other who would fit into helping consolidate team 3 than Martin, who already has a picture of the whole framework as it appears. So if they can work with closely with Martin, I think it can be something at the end of the day, because what we want is something that is seamless in a way. I know from what Simon presented, and he is here, I think it appears unless there is that space, primarily this would be the CV of the PI. Simon, maybe you can talk about that.
Okay, thank you, Chair. What I was trying to read through in the call, and then allow me to clarify this. So for me, the agreement was that I register in the portal for us to be able to get information, and then once we agree as a team, will be the principal investigator. He or she will create a portal and then submit the call using his or her information as the principal investigator. So for the CVs, part, so they're just asking you upload your curriculum vitae, including a list of your most relevant scientific publications. So just that, and then you attach the file here. So they are showing that is just what is accepted. So let me try to attach. They're just asking you attach. Just attaching the CV and the publications there. So I think, Chair, since I have not published in this area. Maybe you can ask the bigger team also if anyone has a publication in this area. It can be uploaded here in this part here. So the publication can be for the whole team, but I suggest that the form be filled by our principal investigator. Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. I think definitely in terms of the principal investigator, there was already some instructions on who, of course, fits to be one. Maybe you can take us back there just to sharpen us. Then, of course, now, definitely with whatever we have, I think it will not be difficult to. But now the issue of the only issue, which is not also an issue, because at the end of the day, people can contribute. That issue of experience and publications, I think that's what we might need to deal with. But maybe you can just lead us into those instructions, the requirements for one to be a PI here. If you have it.
Okay. So it was in the call.
It was in the call. Martin, you have the call?
Yeah, anyone who is on the tab can also share as a link for it.
I'm sure Martin could be having something.
Okay, I'll share my side. I'll share the whole thing. Yeah. This is the call. You wanted us to look for, what was it now?
The requirements for
requirements.
The PI.
For the PI. So maybe right here, investigator. Invest. Okay. I'll write your requirements. Here are the requirements. So below outlined are the details. This one. Yeah. It says are the details of the request for proposals process, including the requirements, general priorities, budget guidance, add-ons, and types of projects eligible for submission. Maybe you're talking of those projects eligible for submission. So the first one here is integrate of LEVANTE measures in the ongoing cohort studies. Okay, the use of LEVANTE measures as part of a suite of measurements related to the outcome of a randomized intervention. Number 3, coordination of LEVANTE measures with the collection of other measure types with proviso that these be collected so as to be shared as broadly as possible. Okay, and these might especially include all this. All right, there's some details there. I don't know if I should read that. Selection criteria eligibility. So the main applicant, this is the one. It says here that you should have a PhD or equivalent degree at least 5 years prior to the application deadline. Must be employed by and be part of a research lab at an institution of higher learning or higher education or research institute. Be conducting high quality research in the area of variability of learning and development, and be committed to engaging with and contributing to the activities of both Levante and the Jacobs Foundation. I suppose this last one is just a kind of commitment statement. So the main ones are the first 3 for the main applicant. And then what they're saying they'll consider is down here. Scientific quality of methods and data. This one. So that's interesting. This one, publication record and experience on similar collaborative projects. This one, feasibility of the proposed project. Availability of resources and capacity of the lab. This capacity of the lab is almost like it's looking at the institution itself and the obviously want the institution to be convincing, it seems. Innovativeness, uniqueness, and value proposition of the proposed project. Okay. Geographic location of the proposed project and demographic representativeness of the sample. Then conceptual alignment and integration of planned projects with the Levante framework. Collaboration and or multidisciplinary character of the proposed project. And then inclusion of young scholars in the team. Inclusion of additional measures with no limited additional funding request. They want additional measures with no limited additional funding request. Okay, so I suppose this is what you are asking, Bonakarani, this segment here.
Definitely. It is. Of course, the first three up there, the requirements are very clear.
Yeah.
And of course, that one dictates who will be the PI. Of course. It rules out the bigger, almost 90% of us, and definitely people like Professor Violet and the other the older people in research are definitely the routine here.
Yeah.
Therefore, now it's clear also that the CV of the PI will be the ones that will work here. So, as per now, our work then is to support the PI to apply. Then goes to the other stages that we should be going to. So, Prof. Pata, that is the situation as it is now. I can assure you, all of us are young, upcoming, apart from you and Martin there. But of course, even the 5 years, some of us have not hit the 5 years, and Ndisho is only 2 years. So that's where it is. The situation is, Prof. Now you can lead us into understanding what are our options now.
Our Chair, there is no big issue about this. We can be able to apply. However, it is number what? Just roll up. There is one that they said you must be collaborative, have participated in a collaborative project similar to this. That's what I was indicating. Otherwise, the rest are within the management or the requirement. We are within the requirement.
Yeah, very well. I think that's
where was it? Number 3.
Number 3.
This one down here.
Yeah.
Publication record
and experience. Yeah, experience
on similar collaborative projects.
That's what I was asking. In case we have members who have had some similar experience on a collaborative of this kind of project, you can be able to give information so that we back it up with what we already have. Of course, I'm one of the beneficiaries from Jacobs Foundation. At one point, I was given a grant by Jacob Foundation to pursue research, but it is not to this magnitude. It was not to this magnitude.
Okay. I can say
so in case there is someone who has this big magnitude that we are looking at and has had opportunity to participate in such, you can be able to.
Yeah, I can speak to that one. Currently, I'm working on a research with I have a supervisor, but I work with him on a research which is on it's investigating the digital culture across higher education institutions across Africa. So it's looking at Eastern Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, and West Africa, and it's interested in investigating the digital culture in these universities using another framework called DISC framework. So how it's similar is that it's first of all collaborative because we're working with different institutions on this research investigation. It is also, you can say, cross-cultural because when they look at the Kenyan universities or East African universities, they have differences from the southern region universities, from the western region universities. So we're investigating and actually looking at the different contexts. And then we're also, it's interventionists. We are to come up with a intervention that is going to transform the digital culture of your own institution. So what we are actually doing as we speak is we are...
Yeah, that one can work because we can be able to combine together the experience that I have had in my main.
Yeah. So then that one, I'll get you the exact name and the exact details and the exact funder for that one. It's an ongoing one. This is the second year now. So that would be one. In terms of the structure, it seems similar to this one in the structure. So in some ways, maybe I could say it is an alternative. I think I may have lost you.
Not just the lead person who has come up with the project, but a team of members from the various disciplines. So we can be able to back up that so that we make it comprehensive as possible. And then number two, the reason why I was saying this should not just be the work for the PI and others have played some role, and therefore consolidating the work to be able to fit in this requirement. It doesn't have to be the PI alone. It can be through the support of the members of this team in order to bring the required content to the level that is needed in line with the form that we have shared. The PI has some specific places, areas that should fill. But these other areas can be consolidated with the other team members of the bigger team. I don't know what is what.
No. Actually, that one is agreeable, very much agreeable, Prof. Definitely, that is where we are all set. Our work now is to support this application to go through. And I think, just as you had pointed out, of course, there will be that, of course, team to put everything on the application as it appears, even if it will be on a template. And that's what I was saying. Simon, Martin, who's the master of the framework, can all work with the support of us. And then, of course, to that point whereby we shall all correct the required artifacts, if it's those papers that are required, we all collect and point them to this thing. So I believe that one we are somewhere. To me, I think we have already eaten this thing to a sizable chunk. Welcome, Dr. Jane. Thank you for coming.
My apologies for coming in late. Sorry.
No problem. Actually, it's good you are here. So, Martin, I believe that one is no. Is it something that we can pick and move with it? I think it can be somewhere. Maybe you can say a word from this being a master of the framework.
Maybe before Martin comes in, the methodology was pieced together by myself, and I really wanted input from the members because the way it has been crafted, you need to align it to the objectives and to the overall title and the thematic areas. Do you think that methodology stands out? We need also to consider that, because that is also one of the areas that they have specified with a very innovative methodology. Do you think it stands out? I was not there when Rael presented the whole document. What is your thought on that? Martin?
Well, okay, for my side, if I have to comment, I'm still fixated to whatever Martin has been calling the mixed. Is it the mixed method approach or something? Yeah? The mixed method approach.
Yeah.
Whereby, because this is not a kind of a straight line thought, it is definitely going to bring in a lot of mixes up. But maybe I can leave Simon, who is also supposed to be looking at the end product, and maybe Martin to say something onto this before we invite Jane and Tarus.
Maybe they can share. We can just look at that methodology.
Yeah, kindly. Martin, you have the document again?
Yeah, it's here.
We'll share.
The document is this one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's here. This one. This is the one. I think the methodology is this one.
Just here.
Oh, I see. Sorry. I'll share just now. I'll share. I seem to have lost the meeting. Let me look for you. Oh.
Okay.
Maybe you can post something in the chat, then I'll get the pop-up. I'll see.
All right.
Okay, I've seen it.
Okay.
I'm sharing now. Okay. Yeah.
So that's the call. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the methodology, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to run through this methodology, I wanted all of us to be in a agreement or to add something or to reflect and see practicability of this methodology vis-a-vis the objectives that we have.
Yeah, if I may comment, I think I can see here that she's capturing the qualitative and quantitative, data collection, which is a part of a mixed method. So at least we have that. I suppose we can go into details about, which parts are qualitative, which parts are quantitative. It seems I've lost my connection. Yeah, I've lost my connection. Sorry, I lost my connection.
Yeah, we noticed, Martin, Paul.
No worries. Oh, someone is sharing. Okay.
Have you got it? I stopped sharing. I was checking it among the WhatsApp.
Yeah, I found it. I can.
You have found it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So sorry about that. I'm in a hotel, and I think the
Yeah, this is a different context. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I was just saying that I thought what Prof. Opata has done seems to have some elements which we can use. We have here, qualitative and quantitative data collection methods. We can use that because we're talking of mixed method. And she talks of diverse experiences of children across different socio-economic, cultural contexts. Um, so this speaks to what we had isolated in the titles here. If I go to the titles, uh, yeah, this keeps popping out. Let me drop it down here. When you look at the main titles here, we're looking at these cultural, economic, and technological interventions. But so we're looking at contexts which are both social, cultural, and economic. So I suppose here, socio-economic, we probably and cultural. Okay, so we have that, and maybe technological context. So technological aspect needs to be added maybe. And then we have the sampling, which they were saying is important. They're looking at the sample that we choose and the size of the population. So 47 countries is quite a population. That's not bad. We may have to speak to the sample, how we are doing the sampling. The only thing I'd say is that these methods here are all qualitative. They seem qualitative to me, this using interviews, although we can quantify the interviews, I think, to some extent, but we have focus groups, we have um, case studies. So those are helpful with qualitative data. We could add the equipment or the instruments we would use to capture more quantitative information that relate more to the technical side of learning. When you're using digital tools, we can capture information that is captured in real time, data that comes through eye tracking or through selections people are making in real time. So we can add that to these methods of data collection. So maybe that's one aspect that I see there. Yeah. So those are the first impressions I had when I looked at this methodology. Yes. I noticed she's saying we do a pilot, which is good because I think for something of this size, we may need to identify the different activities and see how to start off with pilots. And of course, that becomes just the beginning of a series of activities which will lead to some research outcome. That probably has to be captured in the proposal. But I think this approach of piloting is necessary, just to be sure that we're doing what we are saying. Yeah. So maybe those are the comments I can make based on what you're asking on the methodology.
Prof, I think that's Martin's input. Simon, have you cared to think through this methodology? Did you get some time on it?
Thank you, Simon. I think those are the kind of, if we just leave everything status quo, then it means the document, but it's good. If Martin is going to add something, Simon said he's also going to look at it vis-a-vis the call and enrich it. That is a good way forward. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're okay with that. So I suppose we can proceed. Yes, go ahead.
Is it okay, Chair?
Yeah, kindly go on.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you. We appreciate the work done by Professor and the other team. I support that methodology. Maybe just to, I don't know how it is, not to mention the word literature review. The form of data collection can be both secondary and primary data, if I'm getting it right, so that the secondary data will be from the literature reviewed, and the primary data will be maybe through questionnaires, interviews, and all other of reaching out to the subject, engage the literature. You can hear me? I can see my network is not.
Can you hear?
Okay. I don't know, but maybe that is what I would comment. Then what I'm also seeing, because the population is huge, 47 counties, will we have a formula for getting the sample? I don't know. Or how shall we get the sample? Maybe a brief explanation on the sampling framework. I think that is what I can say for now. I'm really sorry for coming in late. Sorry, I had a class. I just finished a class. So maybe I'll also try to have some input into the work.
Yeah, thank you. It's very useful. What you're saying is useful, actually. We can just professionalize the words there instead of just saying literature review. We use secondary and primary. So I think what you can do, Prof, and here Martin and Simon, you scrutinize through the methodology tomorrow. Of course, you both of you are experts in this area. Just see how you can add the quantitatives, and definitely, just to make it respond to what we might need. As much as you tighten your bit, I don't know whether we meet tomorrow, or you want us to meet tomorrow, Martin and Simon, or what you'd want from your side. Maybe you can go first, Martin, so that you just give a direction, because definitely Prof has already said this is the document as it is, but we need it to be built up into something that will appear with what is required. Martin, just give a direction towards this now.
Okay, I would not say tomorrow. I would say in 2 days' time. So maybe Wednesday can be a safer day to touch base, but not tomorrow. To be too soon.
Very well. So Wednesday is good. Wednesday is good. What time? Evening?
Yeah, evening, same time.
Okay. So evening.
You have disappeared. I think you have gone quiet, unless it's me who's cut off.
Sharing the document. whatever Martin and Rael and Prof were writing on, we were copied in the correct document.
Yeah, Martin has the authority over the document, so I think it will be easy. Because he will, he will read into it, Simon.
Okay, if it's one document, okay, all right.
Yeah. So, colleagues,
Chair, I can request Rael to say something because she's strongly behind all the red marks that you have seen in the document.
Definitely. I almost forgot. I was in a hurry to close because I'm joining another meeting in some 2-3 minutes. So.
So that we'll be having the baseline survey, the midterm survey, and then another one, or it is just one survey that will be done. So you don't know, is it even there, or it's my own imagination?
Was there? It wasn't whether we picked that line of
work on the document to look at the methodology and the synthesis of the document, of course, by synthesis, so it has to be integrated. Worked on to integrate in this other document, and then you check on the methodology. Then finally, you come up with a refined. You will just pick and paste her in the application form. I think, Rael, you can be part of the team.
Rael, I think that one is good. So, Martin, are you back? Or you still having experience? Yeah. So anyway, I think just as we have just concluded, it now appears Martin, Rael, and Simon will have to work together to, first of all, Martin and Simon, the methodology, and then the three of you, of course, you synthesize, and we see what you can add on Wednesday. So, Martin, I believe that is the request from us, and then we shall input. So, friends, maybe you can close at this point. As we also add on the document. I don't know, Martin, whether you still want the document to be the way it is, or rather, by tomorrow you will have given direction on how you.
What I propose is, as much as possible, we keep to the framework, because if we do, it's easy to integrate the projects and also to align the projects to the LEVANTE framework itself. If we stick to the metrics, because then we will have something we can objectify and we understand. So we simply write in a way that
Friends, I think we can close that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if we do that, we'll be fine. And then we can meet again to see how we have done it, and then we can integrate. We can now harmonize. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Dr. Sang, just close for us with a word of prayer. We are grateful for what has all happened.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Dear Heavenly Father, God, we uphold your name and really acknowledge you for your faithfulness and love of our lives, divine protection. We have had a long day with many activities, God. We do not take it for granted. We thank you for giving us the stamina to stand it all. We thank you for this particular project we are on, oh God. We really and truly involve you, even as the idea is being coined, that you'll give those who are drafting, oh God, to really get the the necessary information and put it well, Jehovah, and give us favor in this project, oh God. We love you. We are now dispersing to either rest. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen, amen. Thank you so much,
Amen.
Jane. Thank you so much for that. And thank you, colleagues, for agreeing to come. It's not easy. People are under pressure on work, but we shall go through this. Thank you so much and have a good night. Yeah.
Good night. Thank you. Asante.
Right. Yeah.
Good night. Thank you. Yeah.
Don't ask me. Oh my God. Oh! That's very few people. Man. No, she makes these big stories. I don't know. Oh.
Yeah.